No, this isn't going to be a video of me telling you to learn your keyboard shortcuts, which of course you should do, but I guarantee if you watch this video through, you will be able to improve and speed up your workflow significantly. So let's get into it. So there are two main factors that are going to impact your post-production workflow other than the actual project itself, and that is where the files you are editing are located and your file organization structure. And I'm going to break down how to make these as efficient as possible. So the first one being where your files are located. Now that is all to do with the storage. So for a lot of people, if this M1 Mac isn't your first main editing software, you'd be used to editing your projects on external hard drives, whether it's an SSD or these big spinning disk ones. Now, although they work and they do get the job done, there's certain things that you kind of shouldn't do anymore if you have these new M1 Macs, just because you can make the process a lot quicker. Now, the SSDs, them being expensive on the Apple website, are very, very fast, like as in the fastest you can find anywhere. How or what magic they're doing, I have no idea, but they are ridiculously quick. But because they're quick, that means you should make use of this. So I'm kind of used to just using my external SSDs for everything. You know, I edit all my projects, export all my projects there just because they were faster than my previous Mac, the internal SSDs on that previous Mac. But now with these new ones, it doesn't make sense to do that anymore. The workflow that you should have is after you finish getting your footage, you put your SD card into the Mac, because we have slots now. You dump your footage directly onto the SSDs on the Mac, edit your project on the Mac, export your project on the Mac, and then once you're finished with that project, you can archive it onto an external hard drive. Now, you don't actually want to keep these projects on there forever, because the more storage you do fill up on your Mac, the slower it will become, just because you have so much on the external SSDs. But the reason why you want to do everything on the Mac is just because the whole process when you're editing, the whole process when you're loading files, exporting, because it's all going to the very fast SSDs that are inside the Mac, the whole process is quicker. Whereas if you have that on even a fast external SSD, it still won't be as quick because it's having to go from the internal SSD writing to an external SSD, and that's a small process, just takes a little bit longer. Now, this isn't anything crazy. I'm not saying to go and spend a load of money on 8 terabytes of SSD just because you want that speed. If you have the money, I mean, go for it. But if you do want the quickest possible workflow, I would say to edit and do everything on the internal hard drive, and then once you're finished, put the project onto an external hard drive so it's not taking too much space. As I said, the reason you want to do this is because the internal SSDs are ridiculously fast, so you may as well make use of that speed. Now, the second thing, which is arguably a little bit more important, is folder organization. Now, again, this isn't the typical just put your files in a folder so you have everything there, but this can take a little bit more work when you do first start your project, but it will save you a ton of time as you are editing your project. So what I'm going to do is share my screen so you can see how I organize mine, and I'll run you through how, in my opinion, this is the quickest workflow to go about it. So if I go to work, and let's say I have a new project and I need to dump all the files onto it. Quick interruption, because I don't know how I managed to forget to say this, but essentially in every single project folder that I do have, I have a blank project folder, which has a load of subfolders in, which just makes it easier for my file organization. All the structure of the file organization that you're about to see is already there. So all I have to do is duplicate this folder, and I can lay out all of my files inside these subfolders. First thing I do is on this blank project here, I duplicate it. I would change the name to, let's call it example. And then first thing, I go into this folder, and you can see I have 4 more folders. So the first thing I'll do is go into the footage, and I'll find what is the footage that I'm going to do. So the first SD card will probably be my camera stuff. So I'll go into here, and I have the different folders. My camera stuff, put the thing in. Here's an example. I have my drone stuff. There's an example. And I have my screen recording. So all of my video formats are in the video folder. The same thing for photo. I'll put the raw files and I'll export them into the exports folder. I have my graphics, my still, the motion graphics, anything that needs to go in there. And then my audio, all of the different folders that are there. Now, for me, that is the best way to organize all of your folders in post-production, because when it comes to your timeline, when it comes to your editing software, whether it's Premiere Pro, DaVinci Resolve, Final Cut, whatever it is, all you need to do is drag these folders into your timeline. And I'm going to show you a way to get that even faster. But yeah, does that make sense? Just having organized folders, so when you are dumping your footage, yes, it may take more time because you can't just put all your files into one folder, but it will save you a lot more in the long run. Once I have all my files dropped into the folders, what I'll do is go into projects. So say I'm editing on Premiere Pro. I do kind of do more in DaVinci, but it's about 50-50 now. Go into blank project. So in every folder, I have a Premiere Pro folder ready. So as soon as I duplicate this folder, I know I have a Premiere Pro folder. That's just ready. Everything. What the heck is that? Low. don't know what that error message is. But yes, so Premiere Pro has opened and you can see this is my folder, this is my project, and you can see already I have 4 timelines already there and I have 3 folders. So that is all organized for me ready. In the blank template, you can save it with the folders there, with the assets there. So in this blank template, I have the sequences already there. Assets, I have music that I commonly use to use all the folders. I have sound effects, common sound effects that I use, whooshes, whips, whatever it is, and graphics, again, all things that I commonly use. So those stay in the blank project because I use them so often. There's no point me having to import them every single time I make a new project. So if you have a blank project, it's saved in that blank folder. This just makes this whole process a lot quicker. Now, you go into your footage and you have the 4 folders here. So if I bring this back up, I go to work, example, footage, all I need to do now, audio, I'll drag the 3 folders into audio. And there, now I have the folders there. The same thing for video. I'll go into video, 3 folders into video. Now I have 3 folders in the video section, and so on and so forth with all the other folders. Now, this just makes the whole project easier when you are navigating through having to edit your product, because you don't have to fight where's this file, find this one, because you have everything organized. Go into the video, and you can even take this further. I have a talking head example here. You can create another bin called B-roll, where you separate your talking head, camera clips, and your B-roll, chuck it all in there. And yeah, it just makes everything a lot easier. And then the final step, what you can do after you've got all of that is just color code things. So I know I'll color code my video file. Let's say all of the files, I want my video file to be mango. I don't know, I wouldn't do just the video file, do the separated things, but yeah, you get the point. Just color coding them. So when it now comes to them being on the timeline, you know an easy reference of which is which. So those are the 2 ways that you can really enhance your workflow. So just to recap, use the internal SSDs and dump your footage onto the external SSDs for the quickest loading times and editing process, and then organize your folder structure in a way similar to this, where you can just drag and drop the folders into your project, into the project bin, so that everything's organized. So when it comes to editing, you know exactly where files are. You know your B-rolls, your B-roll, you know where your drone stuff clear. I can't talk. You know where your B-roll is, you know where your talking head, your voiceovers, your music, your sound effects, everything is there available, so you can just drag and drop when you are editing. And this, again, this works for all editing softwares. It just takes that little bit extra effort in the beginning, so when you are editing, it's an easy workflow. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So if you have got a lesson, laugh, or light bulb moment from this video, I would really appreciate if you would drop a like down below. And if you're feeling extra nice, you could hit the subscribe button. But that being said, I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.